Hey, good morning to you. Cici here, and I am so excited to talk to you about today's topic. Today we are talking about the all-powerful ego. Yes. Is your ego getting in the way of your success? Now, I have to tell you, I heard a really interesting story this week when I was doing a challenge with Dean Graciosi and Tony Robbins, and it has just got me thinking about this topic so much. Where is my ego going the way? What can I do to quiet it? What can I do to show up in the world differently? So that's what we're going to talk about today, because I am sure that you've got some big goals, right? I'm sure you've got some ideas about how you can show up in this world, and I bet your ego might be getting in the way. So what are we talking about when we're talking about ego, right? We're talking about that part of yourself that has an incessant, insatiable need to see itself in a positive light, right? That part of yourself that doesn't want to take responsibility for when things go wrong, that defensive part of yourself that's looking for excuses or ways around so that you're always looking your best. The part of yourself that wants to assert itself, to look really great, that part of yourself. Tony Robbins said very briefly, he just said, it's your I know mind, that I know best identity, where you already think you have all of the answers, right? That part of you that kind of pumps you up a little bit, right? And ego is a part of us, but there are times when our ego can get in the way. So as I was prepping for today's episode, I started thinking, oh my God, Cici, like, how has your ego slowed you down, stopped you, or gotten in the way, right? Like, what sort of obstacles has your own ego caused? And I'll tell you this, when I first got started in online business, there were things I wanted to do, right? Like, I wanted to get rich. I wanted to help people, right? I wanted to be of service. But my ego didn't want to be rejected, right? Because I'm amazing, and why would I want to set myself up for failure, right? I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to be rejected. I didn't want to feel uncomfortable. And so I started off playing really small. I had heard that it was important in business to talk to humans. And I didn't want to do that because my ego was like, you want me to set myself up for rejection. Why would I do that? So it's really funny. When I first got started in one of my entrepreneurship communities with Ray Higdon, I listened, but I took no action. I took no action because so much of his approach were the two most important parts of building your business. One, prospecting, meaning talking to humans about what you have to offer, and two, marketing, meaning put yourself out there for critics to bash and hate and judge. And in my mind's eye, that was stupid. Like, why would I set myself in that way? I have to protect myself, right? My ego wanted to protect me in so many ways, right? So here I was, a young business person with not much business experience, being trained by someone who has been in the same industry that I was in, someone who built massive success in that industry, and someone who's gone on to build a multiple 8-figure business. This is somebody who's been where I want to go, and who has shared publicly some of the very uncomfortable situations that he found himself in business. All of the haters, the sort of judgment that he got. And I was like, I don't want that. I want the success without any of that. And so let me tell you what happened. Here I was, this young businesswoman, trying to get customers without ever asking them if they'll take a look at what I have. In fact, I went and found mentors who didn't have the levels of success that Ray had, right? I went and found mentors who were telling me, oh, you never have to talk to humans. In fact, all you have to do is make pretty pictures on social media. All you have to do is, wait, and people will come running to you because what we have is so amazing. So I I had someone who had exactly what I wanted, who experienced exactly what I wanted to experience, telling me that these are the actual skills. But my ego said, I don't want to do that. So for that entire year, I didn't talk to humans. I didn't offer what I had to offer. I didn't make it a priority to be of service in that way. But I listened, and I pretended. My ego told me, oh, you know what? You showing up every day in here and listening, Cici, you're amazing, right? My ego was all for it. It was like, yes, girl, you're killing it. You're killing it. My pay reflected the way I was showing up, right? My pay, those lack of checks were showing me that I was doing something wrong. But man, that fear of rejection, that fear of judgment, that fear of my life being turned upside down if things didn't go right, boy, that kept me playing so small. Now, when I made the decision that I was going to listen less to my ego and more to my mentor, who was teaching me the right ways to build a business, things started to change. Right? I started very publicly showing up. I started doing video marketing, which I was frightened of. My ego was like, girl, they're going to judge you. And they did. Let me be clear. They did. At one point, I had a former coworker who'd reached out to me and was like, girl, I see you doing these videos. They're so great. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then here it came, the but. She said, but your eyebrows, right? If you're going to be getting on video and trying to teach people, you can't have that distraction of those eyebrows. You need to go and get them microbladed. And she proceeded to send me, literally proceeded to send me pictures of what it would look like if I got my eyebrows microbladed, which let me tell you, I'm not that woman. I'm not the woman that's obsessed with beauty in that way. But I was at the time obsessed with impact. So I was showing up, and I was showing up very, very regularly and consistently. And my ego said, you know what, Cici, I warned you that this is what would happen if you tried to do this stuff. You're amazing, and you're letting people tear you down. If only you listened to me. Right? But I knew better. At this point, I was doing lots of personal development. I was working on myself. I was listening to my mentor who had created what I wanted to create in my life. And I said, you know what, ego? I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep showing up. And you know what happened? I got really good at marketing. In fact, I did a marketing challenge, and I beat out 1,800 people in a video marketing challenge 3 times. 3 times. I won back-to-back all 3 contests. I placed, not first place, but I placed in every single competition. And that was because I was willing to get a little uncomfortable. I won cash prizes, right? I was edified publicly, right? I had more eyes looking at me because I was showing up in this way that I was afraid to show up in previously. I started getting messages from people saying, oh my God, Cici, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that tip. Thank you for that insight. Could you tell me more about your business? Can you tell me more about your products? I started getting customers. I started seeing my back office of my business, seeing volume. I started seeing results. But my ego didn't want me to do any of that because it wanted me to be protected. It wanted me to defend my honor and protect me from the critics. But the reality is there's no protection from the critics if you want to show up big. Now look, I'm going to give you a second here to collect your thoughts, to get a little bit more clarity. When we get back, we're going to dig in a little deeper. But for now, I want you to go ahead and sit back, take a nice sip, and enjoy the tunes. We'll be right back.